You step out to the porch in the late afternoon to bring in the wash, and there she is, sitting on the line right next to your hand, a yellow jacket. Her wings flick. Her sting is half an inch behind her, and she does not need a reason. By the time you have backed off, 3 more have come out from somewhere up under the eaves of the porch, and you realize the nest you have been hearing all week is right there in the corner where the children sit to take off their boots. Your wife will not bring the laundry in. Your dog cannot go around the back of the house. And the can of wasp spray in the garage costs $9 and does nothing for the nest you cannot see. Now I want you to sit with this. There is a household pest that puts more Americans in the emergency room every summer than spiders and snakes combined. Yellow jackets, wasps, and hornets. And one stung child is enough to ruin a family's whole August. The store sells you cans of spray for $10 a piece. The pest control man wants $400 for one visit. And neither one of them stops the next nest from going up in the same spot in the same eave a month later. What I'm going to show you today is the old method. The simple, cheap, kind to your honeybees method that the careful country folks have used for as long as boric acid has been on the shelf, which is 100 years and more. For about $1 in apple juice and about $2 worth of boric acid powder, you can wipe out the wasp colonies that have set up around your home and keep them from coming back. And you can do it without harming a single honeybee in your yard. That last part matters more than people know. The chemical sprays the lawn care companies use kill the wasps. Yes, and they kill your honeybees too. And your bumblebees and your butterflies and the pollinators that bring you next year's apples. The method I'm about to show you does not. It is the wasps that come and drink it and the honeybees walk right past. My name is Elias Yoder. I am Amish and I farm in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. I keep bees behind the milk house, and Esther and I have used this same recipe on our own farm for years around the same yard where our grandchildren play. Let me show you how it works. Folks will tell you this method will kill every wasp for a half a mile around your house. The honest truth is plainer and still very useful. The wasps and yellow jackets whose foragers find your bait will carry it back, and the whole nest will die. That is most of the nests near where you live, because wasps forage out from their nest in a wide circle, often 1,000 FT, sometimes farther. And any nest whose workers find your bait stations is the nest that goes down, so you can wipe out the colonies near your home, the ones causing you the actual trouble, and dramatically reduce the wasps you see on your property. That is what is honestly possible, and that is enough. Now, let me show you the method. Stay with me. Let me first tell you a thing about wasps that the spray companies do not want you to think too hard on. Because once you understand it, the spray can in the garage starts to look like exactly what it is. A quick fix that does not fix the real problem. Wasp colonies are big. A single yellow jacket nest in midsummer can hold 3,000 to 5,000 workers, sometimes more. When you spray a visible nest with a can of pythene, you kill the few hundred or thousand that happen to be home at that moment. The other thousands out foraging in your yard, in the neighbor's yard, half a mile down the road, they come back to a dead nest, regroup, and a new queen starts building somewhere else that same season. The spray killed a part of the colony. The colony itself just moved, and next spring, the survivor queens you did not kill come out of their winter hiding places and start the whole thing over. The old method is different in one critical way. It kills the whole colony, including the queen, by letting the workers do the work for you. Here's how it works. Boric acid is a fine white powder you can buy at any hardware store or pharmacy for $2 or $3 a box. It has been used by careful country folks for over 100 years. It is slow-acting, and that is the key word. Slow-acting to insects. A wasp that drinks a bait laced with boric acid does not drop dead at the bait station. She flies back to her nest carrying the bait in her crop. She feeds the queen. She feeds the other workers. She feeds the larvae. Wasps share their food back and forth inside the colony. The entomologists call it trophylaxis. The country folks just call it the way they feed each other. And the boric acid spreads through the whole colony in a day or two. By the end of the week, the nest is dead. The queen is dead. The next generation never hatches. One bait station, 10 cents worth of boric acid. A whole colony gone, including the part of the colony you would never have found with a can of spray. And here is the part that matters for the honeybees. Honeybees do not forage on apple juice. They are looking for floral nectar, the sugar from flowers. The yellow jackets and the wasps and the hornets by late summer are looking for sweet liquids of any kind. Fallen fruit, soda cans, the juice in your trash can, apple juice in a tin. Honeybees go to the flowers. Wasps go to the apple juice. It is not a guess. It is the natural difference in what these creatures hunt. And there is one more trick that locks the bee safety in. We are going to add a small amount of apple cider vinegar to the bait. The smell of vinegar repels honeybees specifically. They do not like it. They steer clear of it. While wasps and yellow jackets are not bothered by it at all, the bait is built to be invisible to your bees and irresistible to your wasps. That is the chemistry. Plain. Now, let me show you the recipe. Here's the parts list. Total cost about $3 or $4 for everything. pure boric acid powder, a small box at any hardware store or pharmacy, $2 or $3. Do not get the boric acid that is mixed with other roach-killing chemicals. Get the plain pure boric acid powder. That is what you want. Apple juice, 1 bottle at the grocery store or the dollar store. $1 to $2. Any brand, the cheaper the better. The wasps do not care. Apple cider vinegar. A small bottle at any grocery store. $2, and you only need a spoonful per batch. So a small bottle lasts a long time. A spoonful of jam or jelly, any kind. Fig, grape, strawberry, what you have in the pantry. This makes the bait extra attractive to the wasps. About a dime's worth, empty soda cans, tuna cans, or small jars. The bait stations, you probably have these in your recycling already. Free. A small twig for each can gives the wasps a place to climb in and out without drowning. Free from your yard. That is the whole list. $3 or $4 total. Here's how to mix it. I will tell it slow. In a clean jar or measuring cup, 1 cup of apple juice, 1 or 2 teaspoons of boric acid powder, no more than that. The slow kill is what we want. Too much boric acid and the wasps die at the bait before they can carry it home, and that defeats the whole purpose. Half a teaspoon per cup of juice is the country folk standard. Some folks go up to 2 teaspoons. For the slow-acting trip home effect, a half teaspoon is plenty. 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. This is your honeybee repelling ingredient. Do not skip it. 1 teaspoon of jam or jelly. This thickens the bait slightly and makes it more attractive. Stir it all together until the boric acid is dissolved. The mixture should look like cloudy apple juice. Now you have your bait. Pour a small amount, about a tablespoon, into each empty soda can or tuna can, just enough to cover the bottom. Do not fill the can because if the wasps drown in it, they cannot carry the bait home. Stick a small twig into each can so part of it sticks out the top. This gives the wasps a place to land, climb down, drink, and climb back out. That is your bait station. Where to place them? Set out 4 to 8 of these bait stations around the perimeter of your house and yard. Not in the middle of the yard where the children play, around the edges where the wasps come in from. Along the fence line, near the woodshed, by the corner of the garage, around the pole barn near where you have seen the nests, up off the ground a few feet if you can. Hang them from a low branch or set them on a fence rail. Out of reach of children and pets, which I will say more about in a moment, then wait. For the first day or 2, you may not see much. The wasps find the bait, drink, fly home. By day 3 or 4, you will start to see the nests around your house go quiet. Wasp traffic that was thick a week before slows to almost nothing. By the end of a week, sometimes 10 days, the colonies that found your bait are dead. Queen, workers, larvae, all of them. This is what makes the method so powerful and so cheap. You did not climb a ladder. You did not get stung. You did not buy a $40 can of pesticide. You set out a few sticky cans of doctored apple juice, and the wasps did the rest of the work themselves. Now, the safety plainly, because this is the part where you must listen close. Boric acid is gentle compared to the chemical sprays, but it is not harmless. Eaten in large amounts by a child or a small dog, it can make them very sick. I want you to handle it with the same simple respect you would give the dish soap, the bleach, the kitchen ammonia, or the laundry pods. Same shelf, same household discipline. Keep the boric acid powder up high, out of the reach of children. When you mix the bait, keep the mixing jar away from the table where the children eat. When you set out the bait stations, place them where small children cannot reach them and where the dog cannot knock them over. Up on a fence post, tied to a branch, on a high shelf in the woodshed. Not on the ground in the play area. This is no more careful than what you would do with any other household chemical, but mind it, the second safety word is for the nests themselves. This bait method is the gentle, slow, household safe way to kill colonies over time. But if you have an active nest right next to your back door, a paper wasp nest under the eave by the steps, a yellow jacket nest in a wall void by the kitchen window, and you cannot wait a week for the bait to do its work, do not climb a ladder and try to knock it down with a broom. Yellow jackets, in particular, are dangerous and aggressive. A disturbed yellow jacket nest can send hundreds of stinging insects after you in seconds, and one person allergic in your household is a true emergency. For those active nests close to where the family is, the honest tools are a simple soap and water spray, a quart of water with a generous squirt of plain dish soap in a regular spray bottle, sprayed hard onto the nest at dusk when the wasps are all home and slow. The soap coats their bodies and they drown in it. Do not spray near a light fixture or any electrical box. Water and electricity do not mix. And a wasp nest near a porch light is not worth a shock. A commercial wasp and hornet spray with a long-distance jet. These shoot 15 or 20 FT. You stay at a safe distance, and they knock down an active nest fast. Read the label. Use it the way it says, and do it at dusk. This is a chemical and not be safe. So do not spray it on or near flowers where bees forage. Use it for the active nest, not as a general yard treatment. The bait does the long, gentle work of clearing out colonies over the season. The spray is for the emergency nest right by the door that has to come down today. Use the right tool for the right moment. And about the queen, here is a country folk's secret most people miss. In early spring, March, April, the queen yellow jackets and the queen wasps come out of their winter hiding places to start new nests. There are not many of them, and they are slow and cold. If you put your apple juice and boric acid bait stations out in early spring before any nests are built, you can sometimes kill the queens before they ever make a colony. One dead queen in April is a colony of 3,000 wasps that never existed in August. The careful folks who run this trap year after year find their wasp problems get smaller and smaller every season. That is the long game. Now I want to take a moment because this is the part that matters. Look at what we have just walked through. A bait that cost $3 or $4 to make. Half a teaspoon of boric acid per cup of apple juice. A spoonful of vinegar to send the honeybees the other way. A few empty soda cans set out around the edges of the yard. And the wasps and yellow jackets carry their own destruction back to the nest. The bees keep working the flowers undisturbed, and the children can play in the yard again. The pest control truck pulls up at the neighbor's place for the third time this summer. $400 a visit. He is spraying chemicals across the lawn that kill the wasps and the bees and the ladybugs and everything that moves. The neighbor's bees are gone. His butterflies are gone. His paper wasp problem is gone for 2 weeks until a new nest goes up in the same spot and the truck comes back. There's a great deal of money in selling a man a monthly pest control contract. There is no money at all in telling him to mix half a teaspoon of boric acid in a cup of dollar store apple juice and let his wasps die at their own table. That is the honest difference, not a conspiracy. Just who has a reason to teach you and who does not. My grandfather kept a box of boric acid in the cellar his whole life. He used it on roaches, on ants, on wasps, on every household pest that needed handling. It cost almost nothing. It lasted forever in the box, and it never hurt his bees, his garden, or his family. That same box is on my shelf today. Esther reaches for it 3 times a year. It is one of the cheapest, most useful things in our whole house. So, here's what I want you to do this week. Walk through your yard and the perimeter of your house and find the places where the wasps and yellow jackets are nesting or foraging. The eaves, the pole barn, the woodshed, the corner of the garage, the trash can area. Buy a small box of pure boric acid powder, a bottle of apple juice, a small bottle of apple cider vinegar, and a jar of jam or jelly. Mix the recipe. 1 cup of apple juice, half a teaspoon of boric acid, a tablespoon of vinegar, a teaspoon of jam. Pour a small amount into 4 to 8 empty soda cans with a twig in each. Place them up around the perimeter of your yard out of reach of the children and the dog. And then wait a week. Watch what happens to the wasp traffic around your house. Most folks report that the visible nests go quiet by day 5 or 6, and the wasps drop in number across the whole property over the next 2 weeks. And mark your calendar for next March. Put out the bait stations again before the queens have built any nests. Catch the queens in spring. Save yourself an army in August. Next time, since we have been speaking of how to handle the creatures that share our property with us, I'm going to show you the old way my people keep mice and rats out of the granary in the home. The simple traps, the doorway tricks, and the small habits that mean you never have a rodent problem in the first place. It is the natural next step after today. Until then, mix the bait, set the cans, and remember that the wasps were carrying their own end home before the pest control truck ever rolled down your road.